This is not a shallow top 5 ways of looking more confident video with random energy drinks ads midway through. This is practical advice from a guy that's been shy for decades. I spent over 10 years working on becoming confident, and I'm here to give you the most important advice I've found. I really want you to get there as well, because truthfully, my life has completely changed after I made the progress. If I can do it, so can you. I'm gonna assume you are a shy introvert yourself. You are an overthinker and you want to become more confident because you want to improve your social life. You want to get the respect of your friends, you want to get more dating opportunities, and you've heard that becoming more confident will get you those things. That's absolutely true. Confidence means not being moved by any social situation at all. People can praise you, people can judge you, but you know better. You have to respect yourself, and your opinion is the only one that matters. People respect that, and everyone wants to be around such a person. Now, the advice you've probably heard online about confidence regards saying affirmations in front of the mirror and having achievements like having a fantastic body and having a great posture that imposes dominance. That type of advice is given by people who fake confidence, and stepping a bit outside of their social comfort zone gives them little panic attacks. So we don't want to be like them. The exact protocol I've been on is something I call mindful exposure therapy. It's a 4-step process. And the first step of this protocol is knowledge. You have to understand the logistics behind the reason you are not already confident. And the reason for that is because you are living trapped in an invisible prison cell. Your current perception about your social life is one of defense. You want to not be attacked, to not be judged, to not be rejected by other people. So you just want to play it safe, right? Instead of playing your social life to win, you end up playing it to not lose. And what's the safest way to not lose? Being invisible, being shy, being reserved. Because someone that's not risking it too much cannot get rejected. Isn't that the case? So that's why you've created this prison cell, the prison cell of being shy and reserved and, not very talkative, not taking a lot of risks. That is safe and that gets you to your goal. You have to understand that you are currently satisfying a goal. Every single behavior from your social life is meant to satisfy this goal of avoiding judgment. This has to change. This is the first important thing that has to change, and you have to be open to receive more judgment in a way. I know it's something that you don't really want to be considering because it's scary, but this is the only way that's going to take you to confidence. Confident people get judged, but they don't care. This is where you are going to get to as well. Now, I have over 150 videos on this channel, and most of them are meant to get you through this mindset shift, to understand that you've been living in this lie and that there's no point in living in this lie anymore. You can just open the door from your prison cell and step outside, and you will see that nothing bad will happen. There is a whole realm of possibilities, opportunities, and enjoyment for you to get to. So I'm not gonna dive any deeper right here in this topic. You can literally go have a look on my channel, and if a certain title says, if a certain title calls out to you, go ahead, click on it, and be careful, be mindful, listen to my words carefully. Let me brainwash you, and then you'll be ready to proceed with the next step. Step number 2 of this framework is the first actionable step, and this is probably the most enjoyable and scary step at the same time because you're getting the feedback. This is talking to people. You have to literally talk to everyone every single day. Talk to people at the gym, talk to people in the public transport you're using, talk to people in shops, talk to people everywhere. And what I want you to do is to talk about the things coming up in your mind. I don't want you to go ahead and talk about like one-liners you saw online or like trying certain tips and tricks you saw there, because learning these tips and tricks and tactics, they are pushing you away from your authenticity. The point of confidence is to trust yourself, to own yourself. The way to convince yourself that owning yourself is okay, that you don't get rejected for it, is to allow your thoughts to flow through your mouth and out. And that's what you need a bit of courage to do at least. So exactly what I want you to do is, the next time you are, let's say, in a shop and there is someone near you, beside you, you might notice that the price of something increased randomly. Just say it out loud and just see where the conversation leads from there. Expose yourself to this bit of danger. This is absolutely mandatory, because this is what's gonna convince you initially that, okay, like saying what's in your mind is not that dangerous. You don't get rejected. If anything, it feels good. It feels like freeing, relief. You feel a lot of relief doing it, despite the fact that before doing it, you feel a lot of resistance. It feels almost like you're gonna be, like your life is threatened, you're at gunpoint. There is a lot of resistance. Try to embrace that. Don't try to fight it. Try to breathe. Breathe through your resistance for a while, for a few seconds, and then go ahead and blindly do it. Blindly just say whatever is on your mind. And now, of course, you can't be extremely raw. You have to still fit in the social regulations. You can't just be like, yeah, I met this hooker last night, or like judge the other person because that's what your mind said. Just say something about, I don't know, something you observe in your common environment. That's the best way to do it. You're gonna see that people's reactions are a lot better than you expected. Now, what I also want you to do is become a bit more vulnerable around your friends. Take a bit more risks, be a bit more expressive, be a bit more passionate in what you're talking about. Say that one story that you never told anyone, that it's a bit more vulnerable to you because it's kind of related to your reputation. Now, your friends might judge you, but what you realize is that their judgment over the thing that's so sacred to you is not much different than the normal judgment they give you, right? Over the basic aspects of your life. Like, your friendship doesn't change because you opened up about that. If anything, you gain their respect a bit more. You deepen your friendship. And again, you will feel a lot of resistance, but you just need to take the blind courage and just say it out loud. They will respect that. That's how you become more carefree as well. Now, step number 3, this is probably the most vital one, because this makes the difference between the 99% of people who don't actually make progress and the ones that do, is mindfulness. You see, you could do the exposure therapy, like talking to people and exposing yourself to these situations, while, as I said, implementing tactics you see online, which push you away from your authenticity. And you could theoretically build a personality that gets a lot of approval. And a lot of people do this. They just figure out, okay, this thing works, this thing doesn't work, this thing works, this thing doesn't work. They only take what works, they create this personality, and boom, they live that character. They play that character for the rest of their lives because that's what works. Now, when certain cues, when certain traits of that character are threatened, for example, they have no space to say their type of jokes that usually get validation because there is a person that's very overwhelming and doesn't shut up at all, they get threatened. They become panicked, they lose their composure, and people realize that they were never confident in the first place. They just knew a couple of tactics here and there. And again, like, if they were to just stay inside, for example, they had a disease and they would have to be locked up inside their houses for like 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks later, when they go outside, they're gonna be triggered again. They are not confident. That tactic only hides their anxieties behind this facade, right? And if anything, their anxieties are even bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on, because the more tactics they learn, the more they push themselves away from their authenticity. So that is no way to do it. But on the other hand, if you are mindful about this, and like, what does mindfulness mean actually? Mindfulness means making realizations about your experiences. As I said, convincing yourself that your previous perspective of reality is flawed. Now, when you do that, you end up drawing these new conclusions, crafting this new version of reality. And in doing so, You also feel certain emotions that needed to be felt probably back in the day. Because look, like this defensive mechanism we talked about is nothing more than just trauma. Baggage, emotional baggage you're carrying with you that's supposed to keep you safe, but it's actually just keeping your life, your social life in the trenches. What you have to do is let go of that emotional baggage. This is more like spiritual stuff that a lot of people don't like to go through, but then again, they don't make any progress. What I want you to do is take a piece of paper, maybe your journal, take a pen and start analyzing, introspecting over the social experiences you go through. Introspect over how they make you feel. Ask yourself, like, was my feeling appropriate? Like, was there any point for me to feel like I'm at gunpoint when I talk to that person about the weather? Not exactly. And then dive into there. Like, ask yourself these questions. And when some feelings arise, like when you feel some like energy and shivers through your spine, or like, I don't know, some tension in your throat, just try to focus on that and relax. That is literally the work. Try to focus on that and relax. This is exactly how you're gonna make the progress. And the more you do it, the more realizations you make, you go through, and the more you craft this new version of reality, the more free you feel, the more relief you feel socially, and the easier it becomes for you to express yourself. And that voice that's usually criticizing you all the time, it starts becoming like quieter and quieter, more and more distant, and you can just feel the progress. So you will get triggered. When you get triggered, you feel a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, it's uncomfortable, you want to get out of that state. When you get triggered, if you are home alone or even if you are in social situations, just try to relax. The last thing I want you to do is to fight that tension, to try to like, you know that state, right? Don't try to, just try to relax and embrace it. Let it come through you, let it pass. Give yourself a few seconds. If needed, just retreat from the social situation and allow yourself to process that. Allow it to pass and then move on. This is again the practice of letting go. Then the fourth step of this procedure is progressive overload. Just like you increase the weights as time goes on in the gym, here you have to increase the normality, what feels normal for you. Because after a while, talking to people in shops and in the gym and in doing these basic small talks will feel normal to you. Now you can increase the amount of uncomfortability you go through, the amount of resistance you initially feel. You could talk to groups of people, open up to groups of people. You could open up even more with your friends and become even more expressive and take some courage to lead the conversation from start to finish. Tell more stories about yourself, whatever feels uncomfortable to you. And here, a good indicator is where resistance is. Like if you feel some resistance, if that voice inside your head comes and says, no, we shouldn't do that because some very logical reason, that's probably exactly where you should go, because there is value. There is something to work on in that direction. As I said, that direction might just be leading a conversation from start to finish, but it might also be being led by someone from start to finish and not saying anything. You have to be okay with any of these situations. And everything that we're doing through this practice of mindful exposure therapy is basically updating your self-image, because your self-image is one of being a shy person. If you're trying to do affirmations, to have a great posture, to have great achievements, you're just trying to carry forward your image, the image that you present to the world, but your self-image is still one of being shy. So inevitably, it carries your outer image as well to that point. Your self-image can either drag up your outer image or it can drag it down. If we want you to become confident inherently, we have to move your self-image, like even destroy the previous one because it's flawed, and create a new one, an updated one that's already confident. And this is exactly how we do it. We convince you of a new version of reality. And when you progressively overload, with every iteration, you are just updating your self-image even more and even more. Again, this is only happening if you are also doing the introspection, the letting go practice, processing all of that trauma from the past, and doing this uncomfortable spiritual stuff no one really wants to do. This is the difference maker. Now, after you iterate through this for long enough, you will finally feel free and you will finally reach that state of confidence. Now, what does that state of confidence look like? Peaceful. Currently, you probably have a lot of social drama and social hierarchies you create, like, oh, that guy is cooler than me, but that guy is a loser. These things will just go away. You will be a lot more casual. You will be a lot more peaceful. And that criticizing voice that's just telling you, oh, you didn't say that joke that we know gets validation, that voice is not present anymore. You can barely hear it, if anything at all. It's peaceful. It's not necessarily something enlightening. Like, probably when you make the progress, you will feel like night and day. You will feel the very big difference. But I'd say that on the long run, you will even forget that there was a difference. You will get adapted to this new version of reality that's just chill and casual, and every single day doesn't feel enlightening. Every single day just feels peaceful and relaxed. And the beautiful part of this is that, one, you feel free, and then two, you might realize that maybe you're an extrovert. Because previously you believed that you are an introvert because you don't like spending so much time around people, because your social battery is draining. Your social battery is draining because you have to put up a performance, because you are not confident. When you manage to step into the state of confidence, guess what? Your social battery is not draining anymore. That's something for you to realize. Maybe you'll still be an introvert, which is perfectly fine. You will be a cool, a dark confidence type of introvert, and I really want that for you. So go ahead and put in the work.